The Joker has been tormenting Batman since the first issue of Batman comics, and at the end of many old stories, there was always the question lingering, did the villain really die or would he come back? This crime clown has managed to escape Batman and death multiple times, but there have been some instances when his death was just unavoidable. So, we've gathered 5 deaths of this iconic villain across various media he's appeared in. Let's dive in, shall we? Batman by Tim Burton. This death was pretty controversial back in '89. In this adaptation, we have a Batman who doesn't really care much about the no-kill rule, which means Jack Nicholson's Joker doesn't get to escape. In the climax of the film, there's a showdown between the two. The Joker, using Vicky Vale as a distraction, tries to flee the cathedral they're in, escaping in a helicopter with his goons. But Batman throws a cable around the villain's leg, pinning him to a gargoyle, and in the chaos, the Joker ends up falling off the helicopter to his death, grinning all the way down. As he hits the ground, we hear the laughs of his toy teeth. Batman Arkham City. The Joker's end in the Arkham series could be considered the most impactful. In the game trilogy, the Joker is suffering because he injected himself with a toxin called Titan, something like the venom that Bane uses, but way worse. He manages to inject his infected blood into Batman, forcing him to find a cure, and that actually happens. But then the Joker tries to off Batman and accidentally makes him drop the antidote. So, the Joker meets his end laughing at the irony of ruining his last chance to live. Batman carries the clown in his arms while Harley Quinn and the Joker's henchmen are left in shock. Batman leaves the body with the Gotham cops, saying not a single word, closing the game. Batman Beyond the Return of the Joker. The uncut version of this film really nailed the shock of the Joker's death. Here, the clown prince of crime kidnaps Robin, Tim Drake, putting him through some serious shock therapy, turning him into a kid version of the Joker, complete with custom clothes like the clown himself. Joker and Harley lure Batman to see their new creation, and there are some pretty intense scenes where the Joker even hands Tim a gun and tells him to take Batman out. But then, Robin starts laughing so hard he's in tears, points the gun, and shoots. What comes out of the gun is a flag that says bang, hitting the Joker and leading to his death by his own joke. However, this death plays out differently in the cut version, where Tim pushes the Joker away, causing him to trip over some cables, getting electrocuted right where he tortured Tim Drake. Even though it was different, this Joker death in the cut version is still pretty tense, especially since in the original version, Tim Drake, who was still just a kid, took the Joker out with the villain's gun. The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. In this story, the Joker snaps out of a catatonic state when he finds out Batman is back. The villain's killing spree goes too far, even for his standards, pushing Batman to the brink of almost killing him. They have a crazy fight inside a funhouse, and at one point, Batman twists the Joker's neck, but not enough to finish him off. However, the clown ends up twisting his neck more himself, breaking it and causing his own death. This way, Batman would be incriminated by the police, making it look like he broke his code. This death is definitely one of the most intense involving the Joker. After all, he forced Batman into such a drastic action. Injustice. The game presents us with a Joker who's already bored of fighting Batman and starts messing with Superman. Joker uses Scarecrow's fear gas mixed with kryptonite on the Big Blue, leaving the Man of Steel confused and hallucinating to the point where he ends up killing Lois Lane, thinking she's Doomsday. But Lois's heart is tied to a detonator for a nuclear bomb, and if that wasn't enough, she's pregnant with Clark's kid. Of course, this doesn't end well. Superman decides to put an end to it and takes out the Joker, but more than that, he ends up becoming a dictator, kicking off the events of the games. Those were some pretty intense deaths, right? The Joker has always committed his atrocities, pushing Batman to test his moral code over and over, but in most confrontations, the clown was defeated and taken to Arkham. Originally, the Joker was just supposed to show up in one story, back in Batman #1 from 1940. But the character was so popular that he kept coming back in more stories, ultimately becoming Batman's greatest nemesis. As I mentioned earlier, in the first stories, there was always the question of whether the clown had died or not, which wasn't uncommon back then. Villains usually ended up dying at the end. But now, I want to hear from you. Did you know all these Joker deaths? Which one do you think was the most intense? Is there any Joker death I didn't mention here? Please drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to give a bat like on this video, hit that bat subscribe button on the channel, and ring the bat bell, cause this is the best place to stay updated on everything going on in the Batman and DC universe. Also, consider supporting our work through the thanks button near the subscribe button. That way, you help us bring even more videos than usual for you, and always with even higher quality. Thanks a million for all the help you give us. I'll leave a video about Batman here for you if you're a fan of The Dark Knight. And to keep up with everything happening with Batman, click on the playlist beside to stay updated. Really appreciate you hanging out in this video. See you next time.